hit like, share, subscribe, get this out there, drop some comments. I see some people are commenting. Okay, I'm going to do my best to pop them up on the screen as we get going here. So definitely share this out. All right, you are here. We are listening to WRFZ 106.3 Rochester Free Radio. This is The Divide with Marcus C. Williams. We are the #1 conservative radio show, talk show in New York State. Let's make it the world. Now, as we jump into these very serious conversations today, we got to start off with elections, you guys. Drop some comments. Let me see how many of you are planning to go out and vote or already voted in the primary. I want to know. Because what we have going on right now in our nation is a lack of voter participation. And as I was just saying, it's very important because it's our duty to get involved. You know, people say, oh, well, it's a right, it's a this, it's a that. Well, frankly, the matter is very simple. It's not just a right, okay? It is a duty. It is your duty as an American citizen to participate in our elections. And I know people will say, oh, well, you know, I don't like all the candidates that are running, or I might not know any of the candidates that are running. I tell them, listen, too many people fought too hard for us to get the right to vote, for us to get the ability to participate in our government. And people forget that. We fought a whole war to separate from the King of England. Okay, a whole war. Tens of thousands of people died. Many more starved and succumbed to disease during the Revolutionary War period because of everything that was going on. Because of the shortage of supplies, because of the shortage of food, because of the shortage of medicines, because of the breakdown of trade routes. Then we had a number of other issues that happened to help even expand the ability to vote, right? Like, we didn't used to have direct elections for our senators. It was more like the parliament in England, where we would vote for the House of Representatives, and then it would be the senators that get picked by the people in the House of Representatives. So we really kind of need to understand how important it is and what a blessing it is to live in such an awesome country as we have here in the United States, that we must participate in the election system. Now, one thing that I want to note, and I really want to drive this point home, you guys, is that if you don't vote, that means somebody else is voting for you. Essentially, somebody else's voice is going to be heard over your voice. What do they say? What they tell you when you were little? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. Well, that's exactly what it is when it comes to voting. And I know a lot of people say, well, I wouldn't vote for one candidate or I wouldn't vote for another candidate. That's fine. You don't have to vote for none of the candidates. Just go in the little booth and write your name in all the slots that you don't know who to vote for. Don't guess. Don't just pick somebody because of their party, which is something that a lot of people push, which I'm not able to stand, because right now, being a conservative individual, we got a lot of people that are on a Republican ticket that aren't conservative. We got Republicans in certain areas primarying other Republicans that are true conservatives, that are true constitutionalists in our nation. And they're running against them, talking about they're more for us than they are. And that's nonsense. That's chicanery. We've seen a number of those types of races. We had, what's his name? Constantino versus Robert Smullen, I believe it was, up here in, maybe it was NY21. I'm not sure about that district. Double check that. We had George Dobbins, George Dobbins versus Summer Johnson and Mike Johns. You understand? Like, we got a lot of people that were running against other people that were better, truer, actual conservatives. You know, I mean, like Greg Dobbins, you know what I'm saying? He's out there at No Kings rallies talking about how awesome it is, how Trump's scum and all of this other nonsense. Brother, please. Okay, you out here with these pink pussy hat wearing people, okay? It's crazy. It's crazy. Which, don't even get me started on the Women's March, which is now the Everybody March and all the alphabetism march. That's crazy too. Right? You know, But this is what we're watching happen in our nation, right? Everything is a little bump, a little bump, a little bump until it's all the way off the cliff. Hit that like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. And make sure that you hit follow and subscribe real quick. It only takes you 2 seconds, okay? Got to get this message out there. So as we talk about the importance of elections and who's in office, we also have to talk about understanding who's running. Did we just talk about how it's your duty to vote? It's also your duty to know who's running for office. And people will say, oh, well, they should do a better job at informing me about them running or whatever. Well, I don't know why they weren't able to reach you as an individual if you're actually engaged in the political process. You understand? All of the different counties list who's running. Like, that's the lowest level that you could find it at. I don't know if they have social media or if they have ads running or if they couldn't afford ads, or maybe it's a school board person and they're just walking around with flyers. Maybe they couldn't reach everybody. But the counties list who's running, and then you just go look them up on the internet. That's a start. But that's lost on a lot of people. They feel that it's somebody else's responsibility to tell them who to vote for or who's running and what their values are. No, don't get it twisted. It's your job to make sure that you track down these candidates and find that out for yourself. Go talk to them. Go talk, drink water, stay hydrated, y'all. Go talk to them. Find out what's on their mind. Find out what their policies are. One of the biggest issues that we have right now is people don't actually care about policies. People don't care about policies. All of these elections, largely what we see are elections that are popularity contests. So we've got people out here running for office. People don't really know who they are. They're like, oh, well, you know, they're the Democrat candidate. Let me vote for this person. No, don't do that. What's wrong with you? You know, and this is what we're watching happen. But nobody's paying attention because maybe nobody cares. Maybe somebody cares. But clearly it's not being addressed. I see you out there. Happy Monday. Thank you for tuning in. You guys drop some comments below, and that way I'll pop them up on the screen. And make sure you hit the share button. So if we don't go find out who the candidates are that are running, who is going to make sure that we know who we're voting for? Nobody, right? And we don't want to go in and just vote blindly, just vote for a party versus understanding what the person is, because you got a lot of people that are out here like transformers. You know, they say that they're for one thing, but under one party, but really they're for something completely different if you listen to them talk. There's a lot of these so-called Republicans out here right now, called them conservative candidates, okay, that are out here talking about collectivism and all other types of nonsense based in government expansion. How are you going to tell me that you're conservative or you're a Republican and you support government expansion? Who's stupid? Not me. You're not going to sell that nonsense to me, but this is what they try to sell to you. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. That's what they want you to think. They want you to just look at the party and say, oh, well, you know, they're the same party as me, so they're the best candidate for me to pick. And I'm not telling you to vote outside of your party, but I'm saying maybe you need to vote outside of your party, especially Democrats. I'm looking at these Democrat tickets. They got all these socialists and communists and all of these ridiculous globalists that are running on all of these different slates across the nation. Like, look at what just happened in New York City with all of the socialists that just won these different seats. Socialists and foreigners, bro. Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, this is the deterioration of our nation. They want to recraft our nation in the image in which that they want to see. We have to understand that. All of these isms are about globalism. All of them. Every single one. You got the people that are over here that are talking about they're Marxists. What's the biggest tenets of Marxist, Trotskyism, and the rest of it, right? Like, we got to globalize the struggle, globalize the Intifada, globalize the communist revolution in order for it to be successful. That's the same thing Hitler did. What did Hitler do? Hitler started a world war. I mean, you can argue over who started the war or not, but that's what he did. And how did it work out for him? Good, until the war stopped. Because that's what these people try to push towards you. Oh, well, we need to go over and we need to co-opt other people. We need to do this. We need to do that. And all it is a push for more power, for more government expansion, because they know that most revolutions that start are by the people in the educated class, not by the poor. That's what they try to sell you. That's always been the lie. You look at most of the revolutions, the communist revolution, the French Revolution, all of the other revolutions, it was largely done by people who were in the educated class. Why? Because they couldn't get jobs, because they couldn't get positions, because they were frustrated and they were mad for themselves. They weren't mad for the poor people and the people that were hurting and struggling every day in day-to-day turmoil and toil. Look at the people that are out there now propagating all of this nonsense, socialism and communism, like Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is rich. Bernie Sanders is rich and has never produced anything at all. How is he rich? Explain it. Selling that you should let the government have more power. That's what's being sold. Is that what we're doing as a nation? Is that what we're allowing? You look at Mondani, another extremely rich, super rich, was rich before he got into office, talking about, yeah, I know I'm going to tell people that they should give more power to me and more power to the government so that we can have more power over all of them. And people bought it. And now they're having buyer's remorse with him. But these other individuals that love him so much are about the ideology, not about the practicality. It's because they feel good deep down within. And that is a very, very serious issue. We need to address what's going on in our nation, because right now what we see is too many people in their feelings, not enough logic. I mean, most people don't even really read. Has anybody ever seen that dropped in a chat or a thread somewhere? Too long, didn't read, TLDR, right? Too long, didn't read. And then we got people out here that are running for office talking about too long, didn't read. Too long, didn't read. Did you ever read a bill? Like, have you ever read a piece of legislation? A lot of times, them things are very long. Worse than very long. A lot of them are very analytically dense and, well, I want to say litigious, but there's got to be a better word there. But written in like legalese. What do you mean too long, didn't read, and you want to be an elected official? This is the problem. You know, they say that it's the popcorn generation, and now the and everybody wants everything now. They can't wait more than 5 minutes to get it, or whatever the case is. But it's really like, it's not even the popcorn generation. It's like the what is it? A seagull? You know, shiny, 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 shiny. Look over here. Look over there. Or you know, you see the joke about when somebody's drifting in a conversation, you just shake the keys like they're a little kid. Jingle, 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 jingle. Like, this is what we're getting right now, because people don't listen to what's going on. People aren't concerned about what's going on. And we, as the populace, have a duty to our nation to stand. Please hit the like button and the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop some comments. I see a lot of people watching. Drop a couple comments, hit the like button, hit the share button, definitely hit subscribe, and put an American flag in the comments, or just say hi. Every little bit helps, and it helps us get the message out there, because more people need to hear what's going on and important conversations like this. We have all of this benefit in our nation. It's fantastic. I love my country. We've got all of these people that have come from far away to enjoy all of the 250th celebrations, the 250th birth of our nation. We've got all these people that are coming from far and wide that are for the first time coming here to the US for FIFA, and they're experiencing magical things. They're experiencing Buc-ee's and American sunsets and shooting firearms and barbecue. And they're like, America is awesome. It is. America is awesome. And it can be more awesome if we make sure that we preserve it. But it's not going to happen without participation. Who's got to participate? You, me, and everybody else. Because if you look at one thing for sure, you will see every single time the people that are really getting out to vote are the people that are of the most ridiculous ideology to push it on everybody else, for their ideology to be accepted, for their ideology to be normalized. Oh, well, let's normalize Islamification. You sound crazy. Oh, well, let's normalize alphabetism, and that we should now normalize transgenderism, where boys could be girls and girls can be boys. No, you can't. No, you can't. And that's not normal. If you have to normalize it, it's not normal. But once they open up that can of worms and they start pushing it into our national culture, it becomes a very serious issue, and it's hard to get out. Right now, where I live, last year in the charter of our city, they passed a bill that says that men can be in the bathroom with women and little girls. Okay, men can be in the bathroom with women and little girls. They passed that 9-0. 9-0 on city council where I live. That means that we don't have one person on city council that cares about the best interest of our people, our culture, or our society as a city and as a cohesive nation. Make it make sense. We had a Jewish guy on there. We had multiple people claiming to be Christian. We even had one guy on there that was a pastor, allegedly. All of them voted for it. None of them standing for us. None of them. Okay? And the way that the law was written is real janky, too. Like somebody really went out their way to make some perverse nonsense. It says that anybody can use any bathroom, changing room, any, what did it say? Any shower facilities. Shower facilities. Who has ever used the word shower facilities in their life? I've never used that word. Never used that combination of words. Nobody talks like that. So they went out of their way. And then who does it say can use it, right? Because they'll try to say, oh, well, you're homophobic. Well, no, I'm not. I read the actual law. It sounds crazy. It says based on their gender ideology or their gender expression, not and, people, not and, right? So that means that you could be a whole man, 325 pounds, 6'3", okay, full beard, no makeup, no dress, no nothing, okay, look like you about to go try out for the WWE, okay, and you can just go in a woman's restroom or a park restroom with little girls and children like it's okay. Like it's okay. 9-0 that passed. Make it make sense to me. Who has the best interests of our citizens at heart? This is why we need to make sure that not only do we participate in the election cycle, but after people get elected, that we hold them accountable. Because nobody else is going to do it but us. It's up to us to stand up. It's up to us to speak up. Nobody's going to speak up for your voice, not the way that you would truly want. This is why I push so hard to get more people active and more people engaged. Because if not now, then when? If not you, then who? And the answer is no one, because nobody's coming down out the sky. Nobody's coming on out up the ground. Okay? Nobody's going to materialize in from another dimension to stand up and push forward for what we need as a nation, except us as the American people, as a comprehensive unit, to stand and say no more of this insanity. No more of this child genital mutilation. No more of this importing foreigners with foreign religions from other countries that want to destabilize our nation. No more of allowing these people to commit massive multi-billion-dollar worth of fraud and not address them, while the elected officials that are in office in these state level offices, governors, people in the state legislature, all of these people, city officials, know about all of this. They know. They know. You think that these people are stupid? That's why the second that you start talking about, oh, somebody's stealing some money, or oh, there's fraud, they're like, don't say that. That's not true. What proof do you have? Well, there's a whole bunch of missing money. Where'd the money go? It just went and flew away. Like, did the money grow wings? Maybe it grew legs, like your mom used to say. Did it grow legs and walk away? Like, what is going on here? But this is what they expect us to believe as citizens. Don't look over here, look over there. It's nothing but distraction, and they count on you being permissive. They count on you being dejected. They count on you being complacent. They just count on you not to do anything, not to stand up. They count on you not to go out and vote. They count on you not to ask questions. Because once you start asking questions about things, they get mad real quick, fast, and in a hurry. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop some comments below. I'll try my best to pop all of them up on the screen as they come in. And just drop an American flag or two in the comments, because everything helps the algorithm to get it out to more people. You are listening to The Divide with Marcus C. Williams on WRFZ 106.3 LP Rochester Free Radio. We are here in your ear having the conversations that you need to hear. Let's jump back into it. But first, drink water, stay hydrated. Now, as we see what's going on in our nation, we have to ask ourselves, if we don't like what's going on in our nation, when do we stand up? When do we stand up as Americans that consider themselves to have common sense? As Americans that consider themselves to be conservatives, as Americans that consider themselves to be true patriots and proud of our nation, when do we stand up? At what point will we as Americans stand up? Because I tell you, every day I look out, all my concern is encouraging more people to get active, more people to get involved. Hit the like button, hit the share button. And as we talk about getting more people involved, my question to you is, when's the last time you actually engaged with one of your elected officials? Can you even remember? Do you know who your city council or town council person is? Have you had a talk with them recently in the last 6 months? Do you know who your state senator or state assembly person is? Because state legislature, depending on where you are. State house, sometimes they call them. So have you talked to them? Do you even know who they are? Do you know what these people do? Right? Like, because each level of government does something a little bit different. And we have to understand that, because what I see very often is a lot of people, they'll go and they'll complain to one person in one level of government about something, and it's not an issue. I'll give you a great example. I was at a meeting the other day and I saw these people complaining about the streets as far as the directions of the streets and the way that the orientation of the streets is. Now, this was in relation to city level streets, not county level streets. And they're out here complaining to a state senator. The state senator can't do anything about that. That's outside of their jurisdiction. That's not what the state senator does. And this is what the problem is. The lack of civic education, and the people out there that are putting out this civic education that are misinforming the people most importantly, in the wrong direction. It's all intentional. You want to know why there's no civics in school? Because they don't want you to know how the government operates. So that way they can sell you continuously government expansion, because government expansion to them is the solution. Government expansion to them is the solution, because it makes sure that they continue to get a steady paycheck while they do a whole bunch of nothing. Anybody that's ever dealt with the government will tell you right now that they do a whole bunch of nothing. You know, I look at Tim Burchett. He's a senator. He's not a senator. He's a House of Representatives member. He's a congressman, you know, and he's like, you know, we're supposed to be legislating, and they'd rather name what do you call those things? They'd rather name postal centers, like, and they're not passing legislation. Like, what are we doing? Like, this is what our government does. Our elected officials do. Why are they not serving the people? Why are they not doing the people's business? Like, when can we talk about that? Like, is that something we can even have a conversation about? People get into concept of saying, oh, well, this president is bad, that president is bad, Obama's bad, Clinton's bad, Bush is bad, Trump is bad, because they love Trump. Trump is a good bad guy, right? Trump is a really good bad guy. So they like to blame him for everything. I swear to goodness, if a little kid had a balloon and the balloon flew away in the wind, they find a way to blame Trump. Makes no sense to me. Well, it actually makes complete sense to me, because what it is it serves as a great distraction for people away from the actual local issues. Most everybody's problems are local or state level. Local or state level. Most people can't tell you what their issues are that they have with Congress or with the president. Oh, I don't like the way he talks. He's a this, he's a that, he could be many things. What does that have to do with what he's doing? Do you know what he does? Essentially, the biggest part of what the president does is he runs the different departments. Okay, he's the head of all of these different departments that the government has. You know, the EPA, the Department of Transit, the Department of Interior. What do they call that other one now? They changed the name a few years ago. What is it? I forget. Anyway, but they've got a whole bunch of different departments, you know. And those are all your different secretaries that you see on the TV and stuff, like the Secretary of Treasury and stuff like that, Besant and so forth. Okay. Doug Burgum, who's Secretary of, is it Interior? I believe he's the Secretary of Interior presently. Lee Zeldin is the Secretary of EPA. You've got, what's his name? The Kennedy guy. I forget his first name right now. It's escaping me. He's the head of HHS. You've got a number of different people, and the president really kind of writes the mandate for those different departments. Outside of that, he can't do a lick of spit, really. It's got to be Congress. That's why the president has put all of these different executive orders forward. And the executive orders are great for now, but it's no way to really be ruling, because the executive orders have to be finalized and put into law by being codified by Congress. By Congress. Okay, that's whoever your person is in the House of Representatives. That's whoever your state senator is. Unfortunately, my state senators are super trash. I got Chuck Schumer and Kirsten Gillibrand, y'all. It's bad in New York, you guys. It's big bad. Then we got a whole bunch of other people that are across the country that are really not only doing a lot of nothing, but they're doing a lot of harm to our nation. They're causing a lot of problems by making more and more things difficult for you every single day, while they say that they're fighting for you. You know, I look at it like this. Here I am. I'm a Rochesterian. I've been here pretty much all my life since I've been like this big. You understand what I'm saying? And my city has been ruled by the same party, one party rule for 55 years. You know what I'm saying? 55 years. And what's happened in my community, in my neighborhood, after all of these promises from the Democrat Party, which runs everything? Things have gone backwards. The school system is the worst school system in the nation. You know, and you know, people make jokes about that. No, our school system is actually statistically the worst school system in the nation. Well, technically, the second worst school district in the nation. But we got more people than them, so, and they fudged the numbers real bad here. So definitely the worst school district in the nation. But we get the most money for the school district. It's per pupil. Make it make sense. And the actual physical most money in the nation. I believe we're second highest funded school district in the nation this year. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So what's happening with the housing? Well, housing is out of order. It's all types of crazy. Costs are crazy up in the sky. And how did that happen? Well, because a lot of these people that are in our levels of government here, right on the local level, city council, county ledge, these people, okay, I've been pushing this agenda to make it so that more people from out of town come in here, thereby raising up the prices. Because to them, oh, it's a great deal and a great bargain if they move here and they buy property here. But to anybody that's living here, the prices that they're buying it at is unaffordable for a citizen that's living here, that's grown up here, that's a family that's been here generations. So what are we doing? Who are these elected officials really serving? And this is why accountability is very important when it comes to that. hit the like button, hit the share button. It doesn't cost you anything. I encourage you to drop a comment, even if it's just an American flag or a hi in the comments, because it all helps the algorithm get it out to more people. Drink water, stay hydrated. Now, we've had a number of great successes in this nation under this current administration. I know a lot of people are not a fan of Trump. They don't like him. He's mean. He's nasty. He's braggadocious. He's this. He's that. Blah, 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 blah. Right? But he's got a lot of good policies that he supports. He's got a lot of good policies that he supports. You know, and you always ask somebody, say, okay, well, you don't like Trump why? It's generally something personal. It's not a actual thing to do with his position. They're like, I don't like him as a person, or they can't explain it at all. They can't explain it at all. And it's almost 90% of the time has nothing to do with what he's actually doing in office. Every now and then you'll hear somebody be like, oh, well, you know, I don't like that there's a war over there or whatever the case is, blah, 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 blah. Okay, boom. That is a legitimate grievance, right? I get it. I get it. It's not a war. It's a military conflict. And I'm laughing because it's too funny to me, right? Because words matter. Words truly matter. So what we see going on with the conflict with Iran is essentially a proxy war for domination in the future of not just global shipping, but also global energy. What's happening with that is we are exerting more power and more force to become more dominant in the energy sector. But also at the same time, we're punching China in the face. And I love to punch China in the face, beat them down. Okay, because all they do is send spies over here. All China does is insert their people into our government. All China does is try to figure out every way which they can do something to destroy our nation or tear our nation down to make it a little bit weaker so it can raise their status in the world. It's good for them. It's very, very bad for us. Very, very bad. And people don't understand what China is doing. I encourage you to go look up 5th generation warfare, because that's the type of war that they're waging against us in America. What they've done is they've attacked our ecology and our agriculture. Okay. They've attacked our different supply chains. They've made it so that they're the predominant holder of all of the rare earth minerals in the world. They've made it so they're the manufacturing hub of the world, so that we as a nation have to be relying on them. And you know, you had a whole bunch of corrupt people and people that only saw dollar signs in their eyes that wanted to do that because they figured if they go to China, they can get cheaper products. And they essentially sold us out for a quick buck. And now the current administration is working on reeling that back in, working on rebuilding our country's manufacturing campaign, our manufacturing ability, and our actual domination in manufacturing, because we used to be the manufacturing powerhouse of the world. Lord bless that we may be again in the future near soon. This has to happen, because what we're witnessing right now is the fastest change and switch of any nation in the world under this administration. And God bless, it's about time. It's about time. Listen, you don't got to like President Trump to see that he's doing a lot of things that are beneficial for the future of our nation, right? He closed the border, which is work on limiting how many people come into this country illegally, which saves us money on all types of things across the board: medical, defense, policing, all types of stuff. It saves us a ton of money. Okay. But also, more than that, it preserves our future as far as the economy goes. It's very important, and people don't understand that. They're like, oh, well, you know, those illegal aliens, they work jobs that nobody else wants, and they work in the fields. No, they don't. No, they don't. How many? They let in 30 million illegal aliens. You mean to tell me that there are 30 million jobs in field work in the United States of America, you lying. You lying. And you telling me all the illegal aliens are out there working in the field like sharecroppers? Oh, that's what they want, right? They want these people that are in these positions that are underneath them so that they can be able to subjugate them and make a huge profit off of their back while telling you that, oh, they just care about them. They don't care about these people. It's an orchestrated campaign of deception against the American people so that they can create a new permanent underclass, but also a permanent underclass that competes with middle class and those in poverty in our nation for resources. Because if the resources are thin and the government controls the resources, then they can be more stringent in what they tell you to do. It's about power. It's a simple power move. So for me, we got to get rid of all of these people. They got to be deported. Every last one of them. Okay? May no one be left. Deport all of them. Let them come in the right way. And realistically, what we need to do is we need to shut down all immigration for the next 10 years while we sort out all of these illegal aliens that are here in our country. And I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, you know, Marcus, that's a little strong or whatever the case is. No, it's not. No, it's not. I was watching, who was it? The JP Morgan Chase guy, Jamie Dimon. I was watching Ray Dalio, and what's the other guy's name? It's slipping my mind. He's like a CEO from one of the AI groups, not a CEO. He's like one of the technical guys. I forget exactly his position, but it doesn't matter. And they're out here talking about, oh, well, you know, with the incoming shift of AI and the advanced mechanization, advanced automation, stuff's going to get real serious and we're going to lose a whole bunch of jobs in the next 5 years. Okay. The one guy was like, yeah, man, we're probably looking at orders of magnitude higher than what most people expect. He's like, we're probably looking at 50% of the economy just gone. Poof. And what happens then? So he was explaining, he said, you know, then what we end up with is we get a lot of people, and I'm paraphrasing it, we get a lot of people on the top and a lot more people deeper on the bottom. A very big difference in income. Blessings to you. I see you in the house. Good to see you. Blessings. So we get a lot more people that are on the poverty side, but so far and so deep down that they can barely afford anything. So they have to be reliant on the government, so that they have to go back and forth with each other, that they have to fight with each other for the little bit of resources that they have, while the wealthy are now extremely separate from them. We're not talking about a general wealth gap like we have now. We're talking about something that's going to start to expand in orders of magnitude. Take example, Elon Musk, right? Elon Musk is so rich that nobody's about to catch him. He's a trillionaire. Like, how can you even fathom how many a trillion is? You die before you can count to a trillion. Like, we need to really discuss this. So somebody might have $1 million, be like they have a little bit of money. Somebody might have $100 million, be like they have a little bit of money. Somebody might have $1 billion, be like they got some decent money. This man is a trillionaire. You're not going to catch that. And that's what's going to happen as we move faster and faster towards this new AI future that we are definitely jumping into. So they were all explaining how we have to look to see where we can take advantage of it now, where we can make money in it now. Because if we don't make the money now, there's no guarantee that it's going to be available later. I was listening to, I don't know if you know the British guy, light-skinned fellow. He interviews all of the different people and stuff like that, a lot of money people and a lot of health people. His name is Steven. I forget his last name. But I was listening to him. He had somebody on, and they were talking about the trading, like the stock trading. And they were talking about how, I think they were a hedge fund manager. They were talking about how the market is about to collapse. But they don't know for sure that the market is going to collapse. It might collapse tomorrow. It might collapse in 10 years, but it's going to collapse. Now, I believe that's very fair. That's very reserved. Now, as we have that conversation, we have to say, okay, well, what happens if the market does collapse? Where are we going and what are we looking at? Well, we're looking at a massive shift in not just economics, but also where the money sits, right? We look at take Black Monday, take the 2008 financial crisis. You take any of these other issues that we have had, and who hurts the most? Largely, it's the people at the bottom. Even a lot of uninvested people end up suffering because it has to do and it relates back to monetary policy. So what the gentleman was saying, he was saying, make hay now while the sun is shining. You know, I know that's a little bit of an old saying. I'm bringing back all the old sayings from grandparents, okay? So he's saying that right now, we need to be planning for the future. Because in the future, we can't guarantee that what's coming up is going to be able to have us be able to provide for ourselves like we need. Now, I watch a lot of the stuff with the housing and the different markets like that and retail space and so forth. There's some big shifts coming, and it's happening very, very fast. Hit that like button, hit the share button, drop a comment below, and you can be part of the conversation too. I'll pop your comment up, and it helps the algorithm. Now, as we continue to talk about what's going on, we have to realize that the CBO, the Congressional Budget Office, has already identified that this is a very serious issue. We've got the Department of Labor now running courses on AI, simple basic courses on AI. The Department of Labor. Now, I don't trust them because they got a whole app for learning AI. That seems suspect as all good get up for me. I don't like that. But I do like that because it's the Labor Department attempting to say, okay, we see that this is a thing that some people can benefit. How can we help maximize their potential right now and get them out in front of it? That's what they're doing. This is the Labor Department. This is under Trump's administration, which everybody hates so bad. Trump's trying to set up a sovereign wealth fund where you see he's talking about, he's bringing in all these investments from all of these other countries and stuff like that. Okay, where they're investing in the United States, but the United States itself gets to keep a large portion of the profit, which is similar to what happens into all of these other nice places that everybody loves so much, like Dubai and the United Arab Emirates and other foreign countries where they have to have a foreigner that has a majority stake ownership in any companies that come into their country to do business. So this is what he's setting up. He also set up baby bonds. Go look into those. Okay, they call them the Trump accounts. Okay, for the new Roth accounts. They're like Roth IRAs, but you can even actually, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe you can take up to $6,000 out if you have an emergency one time, which is a blessing and a benefit because usually you just have money in your 401k or your Roth account or whatever, and you're just looking at your money. You're like, man, I'm really struggling right now. But if I take that out, they're going to charge me with capital gains tax, real hard and heavy. Also, I'm very much for abolishing capital gains tax. All taxation is theft. Don't forget that. The government just taxes you so it can drain your wealth away and enrich itself. It's nothing but a giant behemoth that continues to perpetuate itself to grow bigger and bigger and bigger. But under this administration, they've done what they can to shrink it as much as possible. But what you see is people on the left and the Democrats and the socialists and the communists that are all like, no, we don't want to shrink the government. No, you can't get rid of more government jobs, even if they are redundant, even if the people are not effective. You can't get rid of them. That's what they want. They want to keep the government bureaucracy alive and thriving because that's a large portion of where their voters are. But more than that, it's a large portion of where the money goes missing. You think those people in Minnesota stole all of that money without being involved with some of the administrators in the bureaucracy? No way. It's not possible. It's not possible. You got to know the ins and outs of all of that to actually make it happen. So they had an in. And this is what happens when we take our eye off of the government and allow the government to get bigger and bigger and bigger and tax us more and more and more. It must stop. Taxes are too high now. But, in this administration, they tried to lower the taxes. They did the Trump tax credits. They also did, I forget what the other bill is, but the tax reductions also, and the no tax on tips, the no tax on Social Security and stuff like that. A big boom of money for people that are working, So this is great. And with the Trump accounts I was just mentioning, they're expanding the amount of money that you can put in it yearly, so you can save more money. Now you might say, well, Marcus, why would the government do that if you say the government doesn't really care about us at all? Well, the government would do that to strengthen our nation so that they can continue to perpetuate themselves. It's complete self-interest. Don't get it twisted. That's what the government is about. We fortunately have a president who identifies that the United States of America is very integral to his brand. So people are like, oh, he's a bad man. He's a this, he's a that. I don't care, bro. Like, he identifies that making America strong, making America profitable, making America bountiful is good for him because it makes him look good. And he'll make some money too, of course. But also, it's good for us. It's good for us. And people forget that. If America does good, we do good. And I know not everybody's going to do good, but if America does bad, we're all going to do bad. So we've got these people that push this concept and this agenda that, oh, well, we as people that live in this country should replace the government with socialism and Marxism. Okay, who benefits from that? They do, because it expands the bureaucracy, it puts them in positions of power, and they tell you that they're going to give you more stuff than you'll ever get, and you'll never get any of it. But that's been the history of socialism and communism. That's it. That's what it boils down to. People play in your face, they promise you something, and they never deliver. The only group of socialists that have ever delivered were those Germans. But the only way they were able to do that is because they truly were socialists. And again, remember back to the beginning, the socialist concept, the communist concept is to continue to expand. That's why the war was so important to the Germans. That's what allowed them to build all of the great stuff that they built. That's what allowed them to be so dominant in industry and stuff like that, because they were taking resources from everywhere else that wasn't originally part of Germany. If they wouldn't have had that, they would have never been successful on that level. That's the trick. Don't let these socialists and communists fool you. And then they'll tell you, oh, well, Mr. Mustachio and his friends weren't real socialists. Yes, they were. Yes, they were. And that's another thing. Just like Mr. Mustache and his friends, okay, these socialists think that they're better than you. And they know deep down inside that they are so much more moral than you are that you can't even compare. I said, well, that sounds just like those crazy people and Mustache Man. It's the same thing, just repackaged differently. And this is what people don't seem to see. Why don't they see it? Because they don't want to see it. Because they will deny. What is it? Deflect, deny, and then flip it on the other person. That's what they do. There's a phrase for it. I forget what it's called. If you remember what that phrase is, drop it in the comments. It's like deny, reframe, and then flip it on the other person. I forget what it's called. If you look it up, drop it in the comments. I'll pop it up. So as we have this conversation, we have to see what's happening with these people pushing socialism and Marxism and all of this and promising you government-run grocery stores, because that worked out so great. Where? Did it work out in Russia? No. It didn't work out in Russia. Did it work out in Vietnam? No. Did it work out in North Korea? No. This stuff doesn't work out anywhere, because centralized planning for millions or billions of people does not work. It just simply does not scale. The only place where socialism or communism can work is in a collective of less than 10 people. Really, I'd say less than 7. Okay, maybe 7 or less. But once you start to get above 7, you can't hold on to something that's communist. You can't hold on to something that's socialist. Why? Because everybody wants for their own self. Everybody wants for their own self. Okay? If somebody's getting 1 bowl of gruel, somebody else, I guarantee you, wants 2 bowls of gruel. As nasty as it is. Okay? But this is what we miss. This is what we miss when they sell you on the dream of socialism and Marxism. It just sounds so fantastic. It sounds good because we're like, yeah, the government isn't doing what we want, so we should expand the government. Excuse me, what? Make that make sense to me. The government isn't doing what we want, so we should expand the government that isn't doing what we want. That doesn't make any sense. This is why the founding fathers were very strong on small government. You hear a lot of people talk about, oh, decentralization and blockchain. Well, we need decentralized government. That's why states' rights is so important in the United States of America. Even though where I live in New York State, this lady thinks that she's a queen and runs everything like she's a tyrant. Okay, and then you've got her little royal faction that are in the state Senate and state assembly, just like the royals. You understand what I'm saying? And then they're in office 30, 40 years till they die. You know what I'm saying? It's the same thing. It's the same thing. So you want to get them out of there. And instead of shrinking the machine, which is the bureaucracy, which allows them to stay in power, which allows them to continue to siphon away the wealth of the people, you want to expand that. So it can take more wealth from the people. And allegedly, somehow, taking more wealth from the people is going to benefit the people because you're going to give it back and disperse it to more people. Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you believe that you can spend your money better, or the government knows how to spend your money better than you? It's your money. You work for it. You deserve to keep it. You deserve to keep as much of it as possible. The income tax was only supposed to be temporary. They lied on that, and the income tax was originally only supposed to be for wealthy people. They lied on that. You look at Mandani, what's he promising you? He's going to tax the wealthy. Well, what did he do? He can't do that. That's the state level law, number one. So he's promising you falsehood right out the gate. Number two, he's raising the property taxes in the city for everybody that is a basic middle class citizen. Wait a second. I thought he was just going to tax the rich. That's what he said. That's what he promised. But that's not what it turns into when these people get into power. And that's what we truly have to identify. That a lot of these people that are campaigning, that are running for office, they whisper you sweet slogans, they tell you things that you want to hear, they make you false promises, promoting an empty ideology, and it replaces your individual sovereignty with collectivist garbage. And what happens when there's garbage? The whole thing stinks. And that's what we're witnessing as Americans right now, as we see what's happening in New York. They're already starting to suffer more and more. Now, hit that like button, hit the share button. It doesn't cost you nothing. And make sure that you share this and comment. Comment. Drop like 5, 10, 15 comments. Drop some American flags down there. Drop some, hey, what's up? Be part of the conversation. Help me create something constructive in the comments. To drop some topics that you'd like to talk about, or drop some comments about what I'm talking about. So as we continue talking about how the socialism and the communism is affecting our nation, let's go back to what the president is doing. Again, the president can't do very much without Congress. So right now, the president has been very gung-ho on the SAVE Act. Now, for me, I'm not very happy that the SAVE Act is now filled with all of these other things, which I support almost all of them. Okay, like they've got it in there where they don't want men and women's sports and stuff like that. I support all of that stuff. Yes, absolutely. But I do believe that the SAVE Act should just be for the voter ID. Why? because if it's skinny, it'll be easier to pass through. And trust and believe, they got a lot of bars to entry when it comes to Congress and getting approval on things. So let's make it real skinny and just slide it through. Okay? Pause. But what we got to do and what we got to focus on is engaging our elected officials. We've got Thune, who I don't know, I guess he's a Republican. You know, I got questions because he hasn't been doing anything but twiddling his thumbs. Explain to me, where is the SAVE Act version for the Senate that he has been championing, that he has gained enough people to vote for to get it done? Nowhere to be found. Nowhere to be found. What is he doing? Are they presenting a skinny one? No. And I've been talking about that for months, right? And then just the other day, I heard a couple of other senators talking about making a skinny one. Maybe that's the solution. It's been the solution the whole time. I knew that. Maybe I need to be in the federal Senate. Maybe I need to be in the House of Representatives. Because if you really pay attention to the way that the things work, you can easily see how these mechanisms of power actually function. There have to be certain concessions and stuff with these types of bills and stuff like that. And I don't like that. But now they're going to try to put it through reconciliation. So what reconciliation is it has to do with the budget, right? So if it's not to do with money, they're not able to do it. So with the SAVE Act, I guess it would probably be in relation to helping states get funding to implement the SAVE Act, helping them actually provide for probably the mail-in ballot focus and stuff like that. That'll probably be how they get it through. But it would most likely have to be a skinny bill because they're still going to need enough votes. But it's doable. It's not unobtainable. It's just like they used to tell you. If they wanted to, they would. They don't want to. So Thune is up there doing what? A bunch of nothing. I don't care about nothing else until they pass the SAVE Act. These primaries are almost over, which means that we can't do anything as far as implementing anything for election integrity by November if this stuff isn't done now, because there just will not be enough time. Okay? It just will not be enough time. And it has to get done now. It really needs to get done yesterday, last week even. But here we are now. So we need to, as citizens, do our duty, and we need to call our state senators, okay? Call our state congressmen and make sure that this thing gets passed. Call Mike Johnson. Call Senator Thune. Call these people. Write these people. Get your friends. Start a mail campaign to send letters to these people, okay? Specifically Thune, okay? Make it happen. We need to make this happen. We don't have much time left. And I promise you, this is so serious that if we don't get this done and the Democrats retake the House of Representatives, we won't be able to get anything done for the next 2 years. All they're going to be is impeaching Trump and every single person that's in a department with Trump. All it's going to be is endless hearings to draw out the taxpayer money, okay, where they enrich themselves and the citizens benefit for nothing. And then do what? Try to impeach them and get rid of them? You know, it's crazy. They'll have a billion different criminal cases going on, you know, because that's what they're going to start to do. They're going to start to concoct different things and different pieces of, how would you say it? Assorted and selective pieces of legislation to manipulate it to try to turn it against the people that are in these different various departments. And they're going to try to undo pretty much everything that Trump has done already. It's a serious issue. That's why it's important for us to actually involve. And if we do that now, then nobody's going to do it later. Now is the time. Now is the time where we can make a difference, where we can engage our elected officials. And I encourage you, again, find out who your federal senators are, who your congressman is, make sure you write them, and definitely send 20, 30 letters to Thune. Okay, send 50, 60 emails to Thune. Okay, You can find his email and his information online for his office. Okay, if you live in his district proper, go visit that man. Okay, definitely make sure that we engage with these people ASAP. We have to. We don't have much of any choice. We have to preserve our nation. We have to do it now. And if we don't, oh shoot, this is a blessing. Okay, hold on. You soon on the air. All right, so we have to get involved. We have to start making a difference. Right now, where I am in Rochester, we have a cemetery that's largely got a lot of veterans in there. About 5,000 veterans, 4,981 veterans that do not have flags for their graves for the upcoming holiday of 4th of July. For our 250th birthday, our veterans don't have flags. So right now I'm trying to do everything that I can to get almost 5,000 of the little pendant flags to try to get them out there in the next 2-3 days so that they're out there by July 3rd so that they can actually have flags as they should. But this shows you right now, our city's not doing that. Why does our city not have flags for our veterans on the 4th of July? More or less on the 250th anniversary of our nation. What is going on? If we don't actually start getting involved and working to make a difference on the local level, nothing will change. If we don't engage our local elected officials, nothing will change. This is why I tell you all the time, get involved, get involved, get involved, get involved. Okay, there are many different groups and stuff like that. You can go find your city or town council meetings. You can find the planning board meetings. You can find the school board meetings. Find something. Find something. We have to, because nobody is going to do anything for us to make a change in our areas or in our nation if it's not us. Don't sit around, don't ride the couch, okay, thinking that somebody else is going to come do something. Nobody's going to come do something. Okay, nobody. We have to do it right now. And I'm praying that these flags come through. I'm working with a couple of people to try to get these flags, these 5,000 flags by the 3rd of July so that the veterans can actually have them on their grave sites. But who actually cares in our area about that? Why isn't the city, why isn't the county doing anything about that? They don't want to, or they don't care, you know? And that's a problem. We have to get this type of stuff done locally, right? Like if you have an issue, you got potholes, you got to go engage your elected officials. I see all of these people where I live out here protesting about all of these crazy things. Right now, a big thing that they're protesting all the time is ICE, right? One way or another, they'll be out here protesting ICE. Well, you out here protesting ICE. We got the worst school district in the nation. I don't see you protesting the school district for the quality of the education of the children. Make it make sense. We got some of the most serious issues with crime in our city that we have ever had. And people will say, oh, well, you know, violent crime is down. No, it's not. Stop the lies. What's happened is gun shootings, I'm using air quotes if you're on the radio, gun shootings are allegedly down, but they don't even count most of those metrics. Do you know if somebody gets shot here, they go to the hospital, they don't press charges or anything like that, they don't file a report, that it does not go into the actual numbers? Did you know that? It's crazy. Do you know that if somebody goes and they steal your car, they break into your car, they steal your car, they don't even file a police report with that? You got to really, really go extra hard to try to get a police report for that? Why is it so serious? Do you know if somebody breaks in to your stuff that they don't come out and they don't fingerprint nothing? If it's a car break-in, why they don't fingerprint nothing? Why these people don't go to jail? Where are the protests for that? But you protest against getting rid of illegal aliens. See, it's a priority issues that we have in our nation right now that are going very much so in the wrong direction. And you might ask yourself, well, why are the priorities so askew? Why are they so separate from what the people are actually facing? Because a lot of these people talk a really good game, and they can have convinced a number of people that what's going on right now isn't real. They've convinced them that it isn't real. They're convinced them that, oh, the schools aren't that bad. What do you mean? People are graduating in numbers and they cannot read or write basic English. And you can just forget basic math. Okay? Let them have to do some basic addition and subtraction. I'm not even talking multiplication. They're not even able to do that. In numbers, you guys. Like in large numbers, in large percentages, they are not able to do that, and they've got a high school diploma. They are stealing away the future of our children and the future of our economy. And for what? Because they refuse to address an issue that they're milking for more and more money. Because when the schools aren't doing well or whatever, people are more likely to say, oh, just throw more money at it to fix it. And then we're missing tens of millions of dollars every year from the school budget. They don't know where it's gone. There is no accountability for it. Nothing is being done. Oh, where is the money? Oh, somebody must have took the money. Oh, don't say somebody took the money. You can't say somebody took the money. Where's your proof that somebody took the money? Well, is the money there? Right? Like, where is the money? What Tom Cruise say? Show me the money. Where is it? You understand? And it's different if it was their money, their personal money. It's not their personal money. It's your money. It's my money. And they don't go out and they don't protest that. We got so many scandalous things that happen in our city with different grants and different focused monies and stuff like that. They seem to all go to different people's cousins and their different programs and stuff that they go to. And you have to wonder why these other people are out here doing the same type of work, but they don't get any type of money for it. Come on now. Make it make sense. Hit that like button. Hit the comment section. Drop some comments down there. Definitely hit share and make sure that you're subscribed and you're following. Okay, help me get this message out to more people. We have to be the ones that are active to get involved in our local politics, in our national politics. But the most important place that you can start is locally. All of the crazy leftists know that. Okay, all of the crazy people that are pushing Islamification know that. That's how they took over Dearborn. That's how they took over a lot of cities in Minnesota. That's how they're taking over cities in Texas. Like, they know what time it is. How come we don't know what time it is? Listen, go check your watch or your clock on your phone and find out what the time is. Because we really need to come in line with what's happening right now, not later. Because at this point in history, we really, you know how they say that, oh, every election is the most important election ever? This election, I think we're going to lose a lot of seats. I mean, locally in a lot of areas for sure. I hope we keep the House of Representatives and gain a couple seats. I don't know that that's going to happen. I hope we keep the Senate and we gain a couple of seats. I don't know if that's going to happen. I'm extremely alarmed because we've had the last 2 years to put in place what? Voter ID. Has it gotten done? Absolutely not. And I live in New York State, so New York State don't want no voter ID. They don't want that. So how can we work to make a difference? Start to get involved in different things locally, but also start to find like-minded individuals in the community. Friends, family members, neighbor down the street, the guy at the coffee factory that you go to go get you some coffee. Okay, meet people, talk about things, have the important conversations. Because if we do that, we will find our like-minded kin. And that's how we can start to group up, start to develop a collective body of work to push these crazy collectivists out of office and out of positions of influence. They've got one up on us hardcore. They've got tons of organizations. They got organizations for everything. They got organizations from the Stub Toe Foundation to the Tree Frog Foundation. If there is an issue, you can think that they got a foundation for it or some sort of a nonprofit. Okay? And they all collectively work together. You've seen that in the No Kings protest because it's an ideology that's circulating through all of them. That's keeping them alive like a very vicious, venomous blood that's circulating throughout all of them. That's all the same, that they all share in common. We don't have the structural network that they have. So to make a difference, we have to start building it. If you're in Rochester or if you're in another area, there is one group that's actually starting to work on doing just that as far as civics engagement and getting people more involved. And it's called TPUSA Communities. Can you see this? Yeah, you can see this now. TPUSA Communities. If you live in Rochester, reach out to me on how you can get involved. If you are in the upstate area, reach out to upstate New York area, reach out to me. Or even if you're not, reach out to me. I'll try to navigate you to the right people to get involved. Because we need to start to build the ground troops to push back against this hostile takeover of our nation from the inside out. This is what we're watching. All of their people come out. I watch who goes out and who helps candidates and who does different things. The socialists, they're always out there getting active. You know, they're always going out there helping the people knock doors and stuff like that. Have you helped people knock doors this year? Are you working with a candidate? Are you running for office? You see the issues that are going on. What are you doing to contribute? Are you just pitching a fit on the internet? Or are you strategically starting to align with others so that you can start to work on taking back different seats? It can be done. Okay, it can be done, but we have to start and we have to be more strategic about it. It's not going to happen overnight, but we need to build it up real fast, because after this year, if we don't retake these seats, we're going to be in a very sore situation. We're going to have 2 years of basic stagnation, because they're not going to try to do anything. And like I said, they're going to try to impeach everybody, and they're going to try to get Trump out of office. They're going to try to lock a lot of people up. And it's going to be a very serious problem. And we most likely, honestly, won't win another federal election if they get back into power, because then they're going to maneuver different things for the next presidential election in another 2 years, 2028, and they're going to make it so that their people win. Well, we need to start laying the groundwork and the foundation on the local levels to take back some of these local seats. People want to jump in all the time and say, oh, well, it's the federal seats, it's the federal seats. No, it's the local seats. The best example I can give you is New York State. New York State used to be a pretty red state, then it turned purple, then it turned all the way blue. Sometimes it flipped back and forth, but we haven't had a Republican governor, I don't know, 30 years, something like that, you know? And what's happened is the leftists and the liberals have gone more and more and farther left. They've pumped all their ideology into the schools. They've pumped all their ideology into the unions. And we're in a sad situation. We're in a real hard up way in New York State. And I know many other states are like that too. Look at what happened in California. They destroyed California. California was awesome, really prosperous. Everybody wanted to go there. You know, it was a cultural icon, and they tore it up. They tore it up because of their agendas and their push to make the government bigger, and their push to actually create more and more restrictions on everyday citizens. That's what's happened. And that happens everywhere that ideology is pushed, because it's not about doing good. It's about empowering the powerful with the ability to make the people in the working class subjugated. And this is very serious. This is what we're facing right now. Hit the like button, hit the share button. It don't cost you nothing. Drop some comments. Help me get this message out there and help have the important conversations that need to be talked about. We've got another serious issue that's facing our country right now, more than ever. And Lord willing, it starts to come back and I'm starting to see positive things. Not everything's positive, but we're starting to see more and more positive things when it comes to Christianity, working on being restored in our nation. Some people will tell you, well, we're not a Christian nation. Some people will say, oh, well, this or oh, well, that. They're revisionists. They're revisionists. They don't care about the history or the heritage or the culture of our nation. We are a traditional Christian country. All of the framers of the Constitution that signed the Constitution were Christians, every single one of them. Make it make sense. We're not a Christian nation, but it mentions God. Make it make sense. By the Creator in the Declaration of Independence. Make it make sense. Then we've got these people talking about, oh, well, the Muslims have always been involved with the U.S. Yeah. The first engagement that the United States of America had was the Barbary pirates in the Mediterranean kidnapping and taking our sailors that were doing trading. Thomas Jefferson famously wrote to them and said, hey, man, what's up? He said, you're attacking our people. We don't got no beef with you. They said, we do what we want. They said, y'all not us, so we do what we want. Now, if you feel froggish, say something and do something. So the U.S. had to do something. So we went over there and we ran a raw riot and stomped their behinds out, and we took Tripoli. Okay, go look it up. I think we should have kept Libya. Okay, myself personally, but that's a whole nother conversation. But we had to go break our foot off in the Islamists and Muslims behind over there in the Middle East when we just became a country. We had just become a country. Was our first engagement with them bad? So now we've got all of these people from that same area, from all of the Saracen countries over there, the little sand countries, that are now coming over here trying to force our country to comport to the standards in which they want, to make it more like their countries that they came from. Just go back to the countries that you came from. Stop trying to change our nation. This has always been a problem. Then we've already had Muslims here that weren't causing a problem. But now those Muslims, a lot of them won't speak up against these Islamists or these Saracens that are trying to force their way into our government and stuff like that. And people will say, oh, well, the government isn't supposed to have any religion in it. It's a separation of church and state. You don't say that to Muslims. I watch all of these Muslims out there that are women with these hijabs on that are in these different positions, and you don't tell them that they need to take off their hijab because there's a separation of church and state. I've never heard anybody say that. Make it make sense to me. Shouldn't that be part of a conversation? No, of course not, because it doesn't fit what they're trying to push. All of this is anti-Christian. The Marxism, the Islamism, the push for all of these other isms, all of it is against God. That's it. Point blank, period. That's why we're witnessing the deterioration of our nation. That's why they tell you to kill your babies, because it pays them well. That's why they say, after they've told you to kill all your babies, that you got to bring in all of these foreigners and illegal aliens because we don't have a high enough birth rate. Well, you've been telling people for ages to kill their babies. Who's stupid? You did this. This is a purposeful act of war against the American people, and it is time for us as American citizens to understand what is happening, what is being done to us, and we must stand. Make sure you hit the like button, hit the share button, drop some comments, help me get the conversation out there. And if you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell, and make sure you're following if you're on Facebook or one of the other platforms. This is the type of important conversation that we have to have now, because we've got to start galvanizing people. We got to start getting like-minded people together that are true conservatives, that are true patriots, that really, truly care about our nation and see the direction that we're going and are ready to do the work, to get on the ground, to turn it around. Civic's participation is a must in our nation, and it must come from you. All right, you guys, be blessed and be well. And remember, stand up, speak up, and don't shut up. Take action. I'll catch you later. All right, you guys online, please make sure you share, get this out there, drop some comments, all of that goodness. We'll be back. We got some more shows coming up this week, and make sure you let other people know. Share this video with your friends, your family, the people up the street, the people down the street. Share with your enemy. Share with that guy down the street that you like. Share with that coffee lady that's working as a barista that you like. Let them know that there are real people talking about real ways to actually get active and get involved. It is our time now to actually stand up and make a difference for our nation. The time is now. Tomorrow is too late. We've got to get moving on it. I'll catch you guys later. Be blessed and be well.